This conference will now be recorded.
Uh, my name is Ram. So I'll be giving you an introduction about Salesforce today. A little info, like what is Salesforce, why do we need Salesforce, and how does it different from a different the other cloud computing, or maybe what is cloud computing in fact. And then we'll see a couple of job opportunities also, like how is it gonna revolutionize, especially in India, all those things. And then we'll see a couple of windows in Salesforce. We'll see how to create how the end user feels it, and then we'll discuss about the course content as well, like what are we going to discuss, all these things. Okay. Any questions so far? Anyone? Anything? Any other expectations? Does anyone have? Okay, I'll take it as no.
Would like to know what are the basic skill set is required for this Salesforce course.
Yeah, definitely. I'll take it. Sure.
Okay,
Thanks for
thank
reminding me about that. I'll do it.
you. Okay,
First thing.
thank you.
I don't think you need this. Yeah. So Salesforce is based on cloud computing. So before cloud, knowing about cloud, we'll discuss just 2 3 minutes about some legacy platform. And I'll take an example. For example, yeah. Uh, first of all, what is an application? Why do we need a software application? So whenever I ask this question, most of the people will say, "Yeah, Ram, it basically simplifies or makes my job easier." Yes, that is correct. But I would say there are two definitions for an IT.
Hi
Ram,
Ram,
are you
you can.
speaking or because no voice coming? There is no voice.
Ram, you are on mute.
Hi, 2 minutes, please. Power went off at Ram's place. Just 2 minutes. He's
Uh, Hey everyone, I'm really sorry. I got the power trying to connect back. Just a minute, I'll share the screen.
We are able to see your screen, Ram.
No. Actually, I have connected again, so that's my another screen. Just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, while I'll discuss. Yeah. So I was discussing about the definition, right? So basically, I would say there are two definitions. One is yeah, from the end user. Let's say if I'm an end user or a customer who I'm where I'm using the screen, sorry, the software application. Yeah, definitely it makes my job more easier. But in another way, if you see from the developer point of view or the organization who developed that application point of view, so for them it's something which generates a revenue for them, right? Right. So now, so an application or basically a software application is nothing but yes, of course, it also collects the data. Yeah, correct. I am not getting the permission yet. So whenever I get an got an application to develop, right? Basically, it's just some small idea that I have. For example, these days, most of us travels on flights or maybe even in trains, right? So if you go a decade back, so what you does, like whenever you want to book, especially when our parents were traveling very long back, around 10-15 years back. Let's say if they want to travel by flight or by a train. So basically what they have to do, they have to either go to the station, railway station, or they have to go to the airport to book a ticket. So to an extent, railway stations are fine because they are somewhere in the middle of the city, so it's okay. But when you speak about airport, so it's almost out of the city, right? You have to travel. Few people I know few people who have to travel around 40 kilometers. So during that time, they used to make trunk calls, call the people, ask someone, some broker to go there, book the tickets and all. It was a huge process for them, right? So instead of that, for example, Dhananjay is the person who got an idea, okay, why can't I define an application or sorry, why can't I build an application so that people will start using it? So he said some centers all over the city so that people will come there and start using it. But it is basically a legacy platform. Okay, that time let us say cloud was not there. So for that, maybe he was using some C++ or maybe a basic Java based technologies, and he's using it. Now to build that application, the moment he gets an idea, he has to set up the entire infrastructure, right from the servers or installing the softwares, defining the access, getting the reports, everything, right? And he has to take care of building the application even for mobile also if people started asking, right? So this is where you can see a lot of demand for people who are working on mobile technologies early, right? Now, to an extent, few things are fine, but when you speak about the server, right? So a server will have two things, two important points. One is user capacity, and the other one is storage capacity. So storage capacity, to an extent, it is fine because every record will maximum take 1 or 2 KB. So it is okay. Even if the server wants to increase the storage, that is fine. We can connect some external miner servers. We can extend it. But the problem is with the user capacity. Why? Because let us say Dhananjay is the person when he is building. So he have to go with the number, right? Like I'll think that okay, I might have a maximum number of 200 users in the worst case, even in the future. So I have started with a server which is having a capacity of 250 as a safe side, which means at any point of time, 250 users can access the application through the server because I have to host the application through the server, right? So this is fine. But let us say uh, after building the application, as this is the first application in the market who was which is allowing you to book the tickets. So a lot of people started using it. Now, let us say the demand went for maybe 400 or 500. So I can't ask the users to stop using my app, right? Because it is generating revenue. Then I think that, okay, let me invest something so that I can increase the capacity. So I've increased it to maybe 500. Again, the demand got increased. So I made it to 1000, something like that. It kept on increasing. But one day, the other person or my competitor in the market, who was Lakshmi, maybe, she has defined the similar application from her org with more advanced features, and she started giving some offers, all these things. So then what happens? So my app got saturated. People started using her application instead of mine, and the number of users using my application is getting decreased slowly. Now what will happen? So I have invested a lot of money, right? Because to increase the capacity, maybe now let's say the capacity is around 2000 or 3000 users, but a maximum number of you're using my people, like let's say I would say maybe a loyal customers, maybe 40 to 50 people, right? So performance wise, there won't be any issue on the system. Why? Because the capacity is more and more than the demand. So everything is working fine. But the problem is I'll be falling into losses. And as you know, right, once you buy an electronic device, you can't sell it off. Like there is no point in selling it off back in the market, because the price, you won't even get the half of the price. So I'll be into huge losses. So this is where people started using cloud computing. So what is this? In cloud, what happened? So here, what happened? Idea is mine, infrastructure is mine, application is mine. But there in cloud, I only idea and the application belongs to you. Rest all the infrastructure which is will be given by your service provider. Okay. See, this entire infrastructure belongs to the resource owners, right from networking to the application, of course, the idea. But when it comes to cloud, we have three different services in cloud: infrastructure, platform, and software as a service. So in the infrastructure, I would say Amazon Web Services, which is little costlier cloud computing technology. Why? Because it is more or less similar to your legacy platform itself, or an on-premise platform itself. Why? Because when you go with Amazon Web Services, right, they'll provide only few things. Like they'll say that, hey, I have a storage. So basically, what this cloud computing will do is some XYZ vendor will come, or sorry, a service provider will come into picture, and it'll say that, hey, Ram, I have a storage space in my database. If you want to make use of it, you make use of it, but you have to pay me. Me kind of staying in an apartment for a rent. Okay. Now in this, we have infrastructure, where first one is, I would say, go with Amazon Web Services, where they'll give you the server, virtualization features, and the networking. But to build the application, basically I need some operating system. I have to install middlewares for integration. I have to install data which is processed by the users. I have to get everything, applications, everything has to be taken care by me only. But the next step is platform as a service, where and which this is the place where your Salesforce comes into picture. The first step of Salesforce is there in platform as a service. But what is this? Here also, the service provider will say, yes, I will provide most of the things like operating systems, even middleware, everything to integrate as well. But you have to build your own application and you have to sort out your own data. Okay. This the first step of Salesforce here is called as host.com. That is the standard platform that we use to build any applications in Salesforce. Okay. Now the next one is software as a service. This is where a full-fledged Salesforce will come into picture. So here it is like our software is built somewhere on the other service of the service providers and will be shared across to the end users as a service. Okay. Here Salesforce plays a major role. Why? Because here the service provider, along with all the other features, they'll say, hey, I have a set of applications which are defined at the market standards. If you want to make use of them, you can make use of them. Or it'll say, okay, if you want to tweak them or customize them so that it fits for your purpose, you can customize them. Or at the end, if you want to build your own application, as you are buying my Salesforce license, I'm giving you a platform for free. You can build your own applications as well. So this is the place where most of the people will work. Now, next question that people will have is, okay, Ram, you are speaking about Salesforce platform. So basically, what are we gonna do here? Like what kind of standard applications they'll give? So basically, Salesforce is a CRM based application. So if you ask about CRM, it's customer relationship management, and it's not either an application or it's not either a technology. It is basically a process which helps the business to interact with their customers. How do interact with my customers? For example, if a customer raised a case, how fast I have to solve this? Or let's say if I got an inquiry, how fast I have to close this inquiry or convert this inquiry to a customer? Or let's say if I have a lot of approval processes, for example, let us say a very simple concept is if you are working, uh, if you want to apply a leave in your organization, and especially let's say if your organization is using some leave tracking tool, so you have to go to the tool, apply for a leave. So once you apply for a leave, it's based on the number of leaves that you're applying, it will go to that particular people's approvals, right? So let's say if I just need 1 day or 2 days of approval, yeah, it just goes to your manager. But if you need a month or 2 months leave, then it goes to your manager. If your manager says, I'm okay, but I don't have an authority to completely approve it, he'll give an approval from his side, and it will be taken care by his manager or his senior kind, right? It depends, right? So how fast this process can be resolved or how fast this process can be completed can be given by your CRM. So one best thing is your loans in the banks. When you apply loans, it goes to multiple approvals, right? Those things also. Now, Salesforce completely supports CRM. So, which means that all the applications which are given to you from Salesforce are based on CRM only, like sales, service, marketing, communities, all those things. Okay. Now, when I say standard marketing or standard applications or a market standard applications, so what do you do in sales? So whenever I get an inquiry, I'll talk to them, give them couple of details, much more details about the application, and provide what all the services that we provide in the organization, all these things, and at the same time, I'll make sure I'll be giving a better discount so that this inquiry will become my customer, right? So these things are already built in Salesforce with the same level. But the problem is in the market, let us say if you take the same sales application. So of course, the process that is given by Salesforce, it is saying that it is a market standard application, but you may not use the same application, right? The sales process of one organization will be definitely different than others. For example, if I want to use the same application, if you go with cars models like Maruti and all, like whenever they launch a new model, uh, they will advertise it so highly, right, in the market. But if you go to Rolls Royce, at least from my end, I haven't seen a single ad of them. Why? Because people are aware of that. People run behind that brand. But here, Maruti and other small Renault and all, they have to make sure that people are aware of it. They'll start giving offers. But this concept may not be followed by Rolls Royce. Likewise, if you go with any other things also, for example, let's say I want to start some newspaper in the market. So initially, I have to give free or product only itself, right? So that people get habituated by looking at my paper, and then slowly I'll say that okay, I'll charge maybe $1 or $5 for the paper. Likewise, so the strategy of the marketing strategy differs from product to product or organization to organization. So that is why Salesforce is okay. This is the standard process. If you don't want to have this, you can, it allows us to tweak the system. And these are a couple of applications where we are using cloud computing. For example, in a SAS, the one that we are using now, GoToMeeting, yes, we are using SAS. Why? Because to share with my screen with you or to speak with you, I didn't install the software in my system. I have used a browser-based settings. Similarly, when you go with platform as a service, you can say Windows Azure, where you have to install some software. And infrastructure as a service, as I said, you can go with Amazon Web Services. Okay. Now, this is something important. So why Salesforce is different than others? Because Salesforce has a customer 360 view also. What is it? I would say I won't say that Salesforce is a solution for everything, but if you have a customer, if you want to process the data of the customer, then you can use Salesforce. Whatever the data you have, or whatever might be the customers, because it has many things. Okay, so these are the different features that are available in Salesforce, like sales, service, marketing, and integration. This is one of the key points that we need to discuss. Why? Because see, even now also lot and lots of cloud-based CRM applications are coming into picture. But even I work with a couple of them like Zoho and firstbit.com and all, which are pretty much new. But everyone has one problem is data connectivity, because now people are saying about cloud computing many things, right? And cloud came around 10-15 years back, and people started using from past maybe 8 years back. Before that, all only very big organizations used to use it, but later slowly people started using it, because even if you see mobile applications and all, heavily customized mobile applications came somewhere, started somewhere around 2014 or so, right? Now, before that, everyone is using a legacy technologies itself, which means they are maintaining their own systems, they are maintaining their own servers, everything, right? Now the problem is, let us say I have a customer who is using some ABC application, which is built on a Java, and that too on a legacy technology, legacy platform. Now is using it from past 15 years. Okay, there is no change. Maybe some upgrades, of course, but there is no change. Now he has too much of data, and he is getting too many customers. Okay, now he said, okay, Ram, I want to build this in Salesforce. Fine, we can do it. But the problem is, after building it, he said, most of my data related to the organization, along with the customer data, I'm using this, for example, SAP. I'm using SAP as my core database. So I don't want to migrate the application. I don't want to close the previous system. I still want to use it as my core database, and I want to use Salesforce for building few enhancements. This is tricky, right? So I built an application. I said, okay, I will pull the data from your external system, so from your previous system, and push it into Salesforce. You can start using Salesforce. This is very easy. But the problem is if they want to have a connectivity between Salesforce and the external system, that is where we have to go with a real-time sync. That is nothing but integration. Okay, so this is one of the key features when you are going with any new technologies, because most of the technologies are not that great in integrations. And if you see this symbol MuleSoft, this M stands for MuleSoft. If you search for MuleSoft, this is one of the biggest technology which helps you for doing very complicated integrations as well. And luckily Salesforce acquired this last year. And of course, without having this license, also we can do an integrations by using the standard APIs, Open REST APIs that we are going to see in the sessions. But if you want to make very easy things like using point and clicks, you can go with MuleSoft with a minimal coding. Okay, this is also available in Salesforce. And this one, there's one more key feature, which is uh, Quip. It got acquired by Salesforce around 5 years back. And what is the story about Quip? Why is it so important? So generally, when you're processing, right, it might be any technology. So what happens? So you will have a table. You start pushing or dumping the data over there, and you will change the status of the request, or you'll update a few more fields, and you'll say that okay, I'm maturing the product. And once the product comes to an end, then you'll say that okay, the life cycle of that particular request is done. But in between, you'll start uploading some attachments, some documentations, right? Now, let us say there is a business called Rajesh who wants to say that, okay, I will upload a document, but after uploading, I want to allow all my people to edit that document. This looks simple, but it's a tricky piece, right? More or less, he is asking you to use this document as a Google Doc, where and which any number of people can log in at a point of time, update the document and save it. This is not at all possible with any technology. So that is where we have something called Quip, which allows you to edit that document which is attached in the system. So earlier what we used to do was you have to download the document, edit that and upload it back. That time the previous document will already be there, which means the system is maintaining multiple versions. To avoid that, if you use Quip, right, you can edit the document itself there itself, and any number of people can add their comments, update the document, anything can be done. And this was acquired by Salesforce, and to use this you need again some extra licenses. This cannot be done by free licenses. And now the next one is industries. Why industries? Because till this point of time in our discussion, you might have understood that okay, Ram is speaking much about CRM. He is speaking about cloud computing. He is saying that customer 360. So does this mean that Salesforce is used in sales-based applications or the place where you'll have customers? Of course, no. We can use Salesforce even for your internal organizations as well. For example, the leave tracking system that we spoke about. Or let us say Salesforce can be used anywhere in the system where you have some data and you want to mature it or you want to process the data. It might be through approvals or it might be through running some bulk operations. Everywhere you can use it. And why I stopped about industries, because Salesforce is used across multiple industries, even in your education industry where you have a lot of students. For example, if you see Stanford University, which is one of the biggest education organization, they are widely using Salesforce, especially for their MBA admission program. Because, for example, if you speak about MBA admissions of of Stanford, they will get applications across the world, right? But they are completely running based on Salesforce only. Similarly, if you go with very big other organizations like Citibank is extensively using Salesforce. Not Citibank, I would say Citigroup. Because if I'm just speaking about Citibank, then India, it's just a bank. But if you speak about Citigroup, then you have a lot many things in US. Like they have business in financial sector, real estate broking, everywhere. So they 70% of the transactions is based on Citigroup. And coming to a little wider organizations like oil and gas, British Petroleum is using Salesforce, and many other oil and gas industries are also using that. So I'm just giving you one name, okay? And when you come towards the other side about smaller organizations, because now you will definitely have a question: is this about a very big organizations? No, they are using even by smaller organizations as well. So most of the people that I see in this session looks like they are from Andhra. So definitely you are aware of a city called Vijayawada, right? I think I forgot the name of the organization. They produce agarbattis, and they use their annual turnover itself is somewhere around 6 lakhs or something. I'll just get you the name later. Even that smaller organization is using Salesforce. And one of the very well-known website in India, that is Redbus, they're using Salesforce. And one of the best advantage over here, especially on cloud computing, is even if there is any drastic change in the, I think this I might have forgotten. Even if there is any drastic change in the number of users who are using this application, your application, nothing will happen. Why? Because none of these cloud computing technologies, they won't share the user, they won't share the application with the user directly. Instead of sharing an application with the user, they will share an instance of your application or an image of your application to the end user. What is the advantage over here? If you go to the previous session, so a user directly logs in to the application which is directly connected with the system, with the server. So if there is any change, any problem in this in the application, or if there is any too much traffic, then sometimes your application might crash, or even your server also might crash. This is what you have seen most of the times in IRCTC portal earlier, around 3 years back or 4 years back, right? Because the capacity of IRCTC server is 50 lakhs, if I'm not wrong. But if you compare with our Indian population, it nowhere matches, right? So that is why every time when you try to book a ticket in IRCTC, especially during Tatkal time, so every time your server used to hang. It is not because of your internet actually. It is because of the capacity of the server. Why? Because let us say I'm trying to hit the server to book a ticket from maybe Hyderabad to Bangalore. During that time, when it is searching, Rajesh is the person who is trying to again hit the server looking for some other tickets. So now, as it has touched the 15 lakh user capacity, because during that time too many people start using it, right? It doesn't know to whom it should respond. So that is the place where after making one request, when you are doing another request, maybe a payment request or maybe a date selections or maybe a seat selection, every time it used to crash. Later on, it was acquired by, that application was overtaken by, I think, TCS. They migrated to cloud. But yeah, that is the problem. But here in Salesforce or in cloud computing, basically that won't happen. Why? Because if something happens, right, it will crash the image of the application, not your server or your actual application. That is one big advantage. But there is another advantage using this image, because as this cloud computing is having an advanced technologies, they will have a dynamic servers which automatically create those number of instances, will be taking care of your end users, which means even if there is any drastic change from 1 to 1000 number of users, there won't be any issue. Only thing is we have to pay that enough amount to the service provider, saying that, hey, I might go with 1000 users, or I just need 500 users. So which means that you can even increase or reduce the capacity automatically, very easily. Okay, so that is one of the biggest advantage of your cloud computing technology, especially even Salesforce, when you're comparing with your legacy technologies. Okay, and you do have many other connectivities. One is mobile. What is this? So earlier, you have a lot of demand for UI designers, right? Why? Because after doing the development, the customer will say, "Hey, can I have this mobile? So this application on mobile as well." But initially, you asked me to build an application for your laptop or your desktop. Now you're asking me this, so I need an extra time. This is what I'll say, and I'll extend it for 2 more months or 3 more months, and I'll bring some UI designer, and I'll start asking him, hey, please make sure that the screen is responsive even your mobile also. So that is where you have a lot of people. But here now, the moment you start using Salesforce, right, you don't have to worry about it. Why? Because the moment you build an application with minimum tweaks, you can enable the application either on the tabs or on the desktops or laptops or even on the mobile also. It automatically recognizes the tool that end user is using, the gadget the end user is using, and it will fit, the screen fits to that particular screen. So you don't have to worry about it. Okay, this is one of the biggest cost saving that you have in Salesforce. Next thing is Salesforce is a multi-tenant architecture. It follows a multi-tenant architecture. Why? Because so it's like an apartment, a community. So in an apartment, what will happen? Let us say I bought a flat. So I'll have a dedicated space in my apartment. And here, whatever I want to do, I can do it. And at the same time, I have to pay some maintenance fee, right? And as I'm staying in an apartment, I have to pay some amount for a common power, maybe the power supplies, or maybe for the tube lights or lights near the lifts, or maybe for the lift charges, or maybe for the staircases, all these things. Or let's say if I have a pool or a gym in the apartment, all these things, right? But At the same time, so the price of these maybe the swimming pool or a football court, all these things will be very much lesser when I compare with when I compare in maintaining on my own. For example, if I have an individual house, there if I want to have a swimming pool, I have to invest a lot, even for the space or to get the water, to maintenance, all these things. But here it will be very less, maybe uh, $500 or $1,000 per if you take it for per each maintenance, right? But I can by giving this minimal amount, I can enjoy all these features, but at the same time, I have my own limits, right? So as I'm staying in this apartment, I can't allow 100 people to visit my house and stay with me for months and months, right? Then my neighbor will simply slap me out first of all, right? So I have to be in my limits. Similarly, whenever you are using the licenses, especially on the cloud computing, you will have limitations. In Salesforce, we call them as governor limits. So for each and every concept that we are speaking, there is a limit in Salesforce. That we'll discuss whenever we have started the session. So each feature will have some limits. For example, let us say if you want to create some columns or some fields. So for a particular table, you can create a maximum of 500 columns. That's it, not more than that. And Salesforce says that okay, if you want to have more columns, then you create another table. Okay, and you won't get to that level most of the times. Likewise, for every features, you will have some limitations. We'll discuss about it. Okay. Next thing, we just saw this. So now it is very simple, right? Like the moment I get an idea, pay some amount to the Salesforce, get the license, build the application, deploy it to the end user. That's it. And the biggest advantage of Salesforce, as it is software as a service, you don't have to install a single software in your system. Okay. Here, the moment it's just like if you know how to use Facebook, then it is very easy to use Salesforce also, and it is even for the end user. So you don't have to give too many lectures about it. You just provide a very simple presentation saying that okay, in this slide you have to do this and all. That's it. Give it to the end user. He'll start using it, and he will be adapted to the system very easily when you compare with any other technologies because Salesforce is that easy. Okay, and this is one of the biggest reason why companies are running behind system. Why? Because one is it is based on cloud, so they don't have to maintain any infrastructure. Second thing, it helps you to develop the applications which suppose directly even your mobile, so they don't have to again invest on the mobile on this web developers. Third one, as it is based on browser, I don't have to bring a system who's who's having too much of hard disk capacity and all. Why? Because if you go with some of the applications or some of the technologies like SAP and all, just to install SAP, forget about the development. Just to install SAP, I think I need 500 GB in my in my system. But that is not required in case of your Salesforce. So you have a browser, you have a system, a basic system with a good internet connection. That is more and more than enough. And now you can ask, okay, Ram, which means that do we need to develop everything in the browser itself? Can't we have some editors? Yes, we can if you want. We can connect with editors like the old Eclipse, Sublime Text, IntelliJ, and even Visual Studio also. I'll show you how do we connect that as well. Okay, and yeah, so this is what happens like when we were kids, like whenever your elder brothers or uncles are working in IT, so whenever they are giving any estimates, right, even if the project is very small, they have to go with 12 or 6 to 12 months. Why? Because it is not because they are inefficient, it is because they have to set up the entire infrastructure, and that is one of the common time that or regular interval that they need to define the infrastructure, and they don't have much time to build the application. That is why the deadlines are very close, and they used to follow waterfalls also. But now coming to Salesforce, everything happens in weeks also. There are applications where I built within a maximum of 4 days as well, because everything is there in my hand. I have to get the license, understand the process, build the application, give it to the end users. So maybe after a couple of slides I'll explain you. It's very easy to build the applications in Salesforce even if you are not a developer as well. Okay, and yeah, he is the CEO. I don't know why this slide came here. Uh, so he says Salesforce always believes in one point, that is trust. Of course, yeah, I'll come to this. So why trust? So if my customer don't believe that I'm giving him a proper security, even if I'm giving a very rich application, he'll definitely won't come and start using my application because I might do a data breach, right? Salesforce started somewhere around 1999, if I'm not wrong, or 98. Till date, there is no single news where there is a data breach. It's not because they will stop the news, but there is no data breach. Why? Because the security which is provided by Salesforce is very high when you compare with any other technologies. Why? Because, for example, around 3-4 years back, from past 3-4 years, when you're trying to log into your Facebook or WhatsApp, sorry, not WhatsApp, your Gmail or Twitter, so you are getting a verification code to your mail from whenever you are trying to log into your new system, right? Maybe a verification mail or verification code to your mobile and all, right? This was implemented in Salesforce before 2008 or so, which means even if I know your credentials, if I want to access your system, I won't be able to do it because it will be sending a verification code to your personal devices with which you have connected with Salesforce. So if I'm not able to access your data, then think about how can I, access your system itself. Think about how can I hack the data. That is impossible. Okay. Because to hack the data or to pull the data or to extract the data from Salesforce to outside, you need some security tokens, which is generated by Salesforce again, which is having a combination of 18-digit character, which is impossible to decode. Okay, and this is something very important. Uh, who all are using iPhones in this session? Is there anyone who is using iPhones?
Yes.
And most of the people are using Androids, right? So I won't say it's a copy, but there is something called App Store. What is it?
where we can download the apps.
Perfect. Which means, for example, let us say we are around 33 people. I want to connect with you every day. Just I want to say good morning, or I want to send you some personal information or something like that. Just some messages. So what should I do? What is the easiest way? Install WhatsApp, because everyone will definitely use WhatsApp and most of you are using Android mobiles. So install WhatsApp, get all your mobile numbers and create a group. Just text to everyone, right? That is very easy, right? But I can do other one also. Let's say if I'm a mobile developer, then I can build an application similar to WhatsApp and ask all of you to use it or install it and start using it, right? But why should I go for the first one? Because it saves my time, my money, my effort, right? And you know what? That is where your app stores or even play stores came into picture. Some person like Yashwant will build a mobile, have an idea. Again, let us say if you go with this, what do you call, this flight booking software, let's say avaya.com. So he is the person who got this idea. He built the wire.com website and he thought like, okay, instead of just going with website, I will define an app as well, a mobile app, and deploy it both in App Store on even Play Store. And people started using it. It has generated a lot of it, right? But actually, Play Store came after App Store, right? First thing you have is App Store, which belongs to iPhone initially, Apple initially. But actually, that idea of bringing this App Store or Play Store, even the name App Store, was registered by this guy. You can start looking for the story behind App Store and Mark Benioff. You can see the entire news. So he has gifted this domain registration to Apple, as he is the friend of Apple CEO that time. Okay, and he came up with a new word called App Exchange. So now To use App Store, I need an iPhone, correct? I need an Apple account basically. Or to use Play Store, I need an Android mobile. Similarly, to use this App Exchange, I need a Salesforce license. So what do you do in App Store? Someone build applications. If you're interested, you'll start using it. The moment number of people are using it, the person who developed, maybe Yashwant in our case, he'll be getting some revenue, right? Similarly here also, let us say if you have a good idea where people can start using it, I will start building that application and upload an app exchange, and then whenever customer wants to use the similar feature, they will directly come here, it come to the app exchange, install it in their Salesforce licenses, they'll start using it. The moment they start using it, based on the agreement we have, see, if you see here, most of them are saying free. There are chargeable applications also, I can charge for them, maybe for the maintenance or maybe for the enhancements, all these things. Okay, now the people who are building these applications, we call them as Salesforce partners. Okay, so these are the people who will build the applications. Actually, this slide is a little older, so all I think
Hi Ram, sorry to
yeah,
interrupt you. Can you please explain the concept of apps exchange once again?
yeah, it is completely similar to your app store. Okay, so
Okay.
app exchange is a place where you'll see a lot of applications which are already built. For example, I need a project management tool. So I've built some applications in my Salesforce. Now I need to connect with some project management tool. Or I'll go with the best example, that is Conga Composer. So Conga Composer is an app exchange app which helps me to convert my records into a PDF document in a very easy way. Okay. So to convert the records into PDF documentation, I have to write a code which might need maybe 2 developers and 1 tester with a time span of 4 months. But if I'm using Conga Composers, they are saying that, hey Ram, just give me $50 per a year. Now, if you come to the previous case, like where I have to get the development done, so here I have to invest on 2 developers. Each developer per hour they'll charge around $20. 3 months plus 1 tester, and to manage these people I need to have a management manager, a scrum master, a business analyst, all these things. I have to invest around not less than $10,000. But when I'm getting something for $50 or $100 a year, then I'll definitely go with this, right? So these are the applications which are already installed in a place called App Exchange. Like the way you have your App Store or Play Stores in your mobile, the moment you access Salesforce licenses, you will have a place where we can call it as App Exchange. It's a marketplace where you'll see a lot of applications. Based on our requirement, you can simply search here and start picking up. For example, if I want to have a messaging tool, I'll just go to App Store and I'll say messaging. That is where you'll get a lot of applications which are related to messaging, right? Like in that, obviously the first one will be WhatsApp, why people most of the people are using it. So here also is the same thing, but there is a small difference. Either in App Store or Play Store, if I want to upload my application, no one stops me, because I'll simply upload. And let us say if Raghav wants to use the application, he'll just use the application, and if he feels that this is not at all good, he'll give a negative feedback. Or if the application gets crashed, he'll give a negative feedback and he'll delete it. That's it, no one will start using it. But in Salesforce, what will happen is we have a team called App Exchange team. They won't blindly allow you to upload the application directly into the Salesforce App Exchange. So what they'll do is once you are done with the build, you're building the application, you have to submit the entire documentation to them, and they will review each and every minor case of your feature. Like what is the use case, how people can use it, what is the user interface, how many best practices you have followed, have you covered each and every test case properly, how you are giving the security, each and everything will be reviewed by this App Exchange team, and then they will allow you to upload it in Salesforce App Exchange. Why this restriction? Because when you go with Apple or Google, right, it's open, everyone can use it, it doesn't matter. But here the people are using Salesforce, they are paying some amount to Salesforce, right? It's not like this is not for free. So business people are using it, by giving the license amount. So they have to be taken care, because there is one word where Salesforce always believes is trust. So make sure that there is no data breach or any other security issues. They will first review this. I think average time they need is 3 months to review your application. Post that you can upload. But trust me, it's not, Salesforce is not just a place where you'll just get a job, get a good salary. If you have a good idea in the market, right? If you build it and upload it, that's it. You can even run the entire show on your own. I know a couple of organizations who are running the entire company based on one small single application. That's it. That they have uploaded because of the demand, that is number of people they are using. Lot of people, for example, Conga Composer, they are earlier, not, I'm not sure now, but they are just an app exchange product developers. That's it. And the organization is also very small. They have survived for more than 10 years, and then they started building some other applications. Likewise, we have many other orgs, especially in India itself. They build only one app and they're running the show from past 5 years happily with 20, 30 developers in the team. I'm speaking about the startups. Forget, I'm not speaking much about the bigger organizations, because bigger organizations anyway they can happily survive because they work on multiple technologies. There are a lot of organizations in India, startups or mid-range companies, who are completely working only on Salesforce products, and still the demand is there. Okay, and this is what the economy, don't have to see it. This one I would say just 1 point. So actually this is an estimate for 2022, but due to pandemic the numbers got changed. Now they have targeted for 2024, where Salesforce is generating 5 million jobs across the world. Is Salesforce giving you sales as a company? I'm not saying that Salesforce will give you the job as a company. As a technology, they are generating those many jobs. For example, I know few of my friends who has the startups. Very recently, they started the organizations around 1.5 year back. Last year, I know them literally. They were running behind clients because they are new in the market. People, no one trusted them. Okay, even if they are very good, because the moment you are new, right, people can't trust you directly. And they used to do very small support works for $5 per 1 hour. But I got a couple of calls. I was very happy to hear this calls around 2 weeks back. They called me up and they said like, Ram, we are getting too much of work. Everyone, not just one person, okay, every organization, whosoever there in my friend circle, they said like, we got huge work and we are ready to give, if there is any freelancer, we are ready to give $20 per hour also. Why? As there is a lot of demand. Why this much of demand got created? Because last year, after first 3 months, everything got stuck in the market because of this pandemic, right? There is no application. Now there is a huge demand of the resources, and of course especially in Salesforce. So that is the main reason why people are running, and even the market is very good. I would say, I know one person who recently joined in Salesforce. You won't even trust me, or you won't even believe basically if I say this, because he's just having 5.5 years of experience, okay, and he got 65 lakh package in Salesforce. Okay, that is how the market is now. Too much of demand is there. And these are the people who are using more or less everyone in the market is using Salesforce. You don't have to think about, when you're speaking about Amazon Web Services, then there is a limitation. Either people like organizations like Amazon, Accenture, Deloitte, or Wipro are developing these applications. They have to run behind only those big companies. No, Salesforce is there right from small startups to a very big organization as well. So you don't have to worry about it. And this is what is their expectation. As of now, Salesforce is at $17 billion company. Actually, you don't need this, but I'll tell you why I'm telling this. But in future, within 2 years, they are trying to grow with $35 billion. Why? Because Salesforce is not just going vertically, they are growing horizontally as well. So recently they have acquired a company called Velocity, which is mainly works on different industries, and they are on CPQ especially. So likewise, they are expanding their business like anything. And why I'm telling you about these two slides a lot. See, if Salesforce is growing, or for example, forget about Salesforce. Let us say I learned some technology called ABC. So it has created very good hype for first 2 years. So I've learned it. Then slowly, the CEO thought like the way Nokia earlier. I'm really sorry if there is any person who is fan of Nokia. Even I was a fan of Nokia. So the biggest mistake. Can someone tell me what is the biggest mistake that Nokia did? Because they are market rulers earlier, right? But you hardly see Nokia mobiles in the market now. Why? Because they didn't understood or they didn't try to understand the company. Sorry, the customers. When people are running behind Android, they said like, no, Nokia is very good. People will start using it. I still remember the day when Nokia CEO, when they are saying that their shares are down, so he was literally crying. Why? Because they never understood customer ideology, right? So that is where Android came into picture and it beaten the new Nokia easily. But in Salesforce, it's not like that. We are evolving every 4 months. Salesforce will give you 3 releases every 4 months with new features. And again, it is for free. You don't have to worry about whether I'll install it in my system or not. It will be taken care by Salesforce itself. It will automatically install everything without asking you, okay, leave this for 5 days. I need to do some installations. Nothing. It will be taken care automatically. So every new concept or every new feature, every request that is made by every customer will be taken care and it will be developed as a product and it will be released in future in Salesforce. So that is one of the biggest advantage and that is one of the reason why most of the customers are fond of Salesforce actually. And now, if Salesforce is growing or if the technology that I'm working is growing, definitely there will be a growth for me, right? I'll tell you, when I started my career in 2010, I started my career directly in Salesforce. People used to ask me, my friends, especially my parents, like or maybe my uncles, aunts, and all. When I say I'm working in Salesforce, they used to ask me, hey, Ram, are you selling the soap packets and all? Or are you a salesman? Because no one is aware. But now it's like you will be very proud to say that you're working in Salesforce. And the other one is, I was not interested in IT when I started my career. I felt like, okay, I'll just work in sales for a few days because it was very easy. Okay, as I used to start as an admin. I worked as an admin for 6 months or so. So it was very easy for me. Even now, also, it's pretty much easier. You don't have to have any prerequisites when someone asks me this question. So it's easy to build an application also. I thought like, okay, it's very easy, if this falls down, I'll go back and do some business in my at my hometown and all. But now I'm an architect who is leading a team of more than 38 members in my organization. Why? Because I was slowly became a passionate about Salesforce because it helped me a lot even to learn development, not even if I'm not from a development background. And I can still survive in the market very happily without any problems, without changing a technology till at least 6 to 7 more years. And this is very rare case where you have seen a person who is working on a single technology. I'm not saying it as pro or con, but yeah, generally in the IT, you cannot work on a particular technology for more than 5 years. After that, you have to switch your career. But in Salesforce, it is not required at least for 10 more years. Okay. Then about course content. Actually, I forgot to have that Excel, but just type it here. Just give me a minute. So coming to the courses. So Salesforce will have basically, I mean, in this courses you will have to learn. You will learn only two things. One is okay. Oh, shit. Sorry, it's a new system. I bought it yesterday. I think I forgot to set a few things. Just give me a minute. Okay. So you basically have two features that you are going to learn in the sessions. One is admin and the other one is development. So when you compare with any other technologies, right, the definition of sales, the admin and development, especially the admin, is not the same as your other technologies of Salesforce. Why? Because in Salesforce, even an admin can build an application. Admin is not just a person who will uh, just look into the user security. He is a person who can even build an application also. He can write the automation rules. He can manage the users, of course. He can write the automation rules saying by let's say updating some records automatically or sending the system, sending the emails, all these things. Course content, I'll ask this consultancy to share it across. So I will discuss about each and every feature of admin where it helps you to do for the certification or even for your interviews as well. So after this, you have something called development where you have to learn few features, because when you are speaking about this admin, right, I'm saying that okay, you can do many things, but all these are standard screens which are given by sales. But if you want to do any customizations, or if you want to write any complex validations, or if you want to do any bulk transactions, let us say a very good example is your if instead of going with an organization, I would go with a bank. Yeah, that's the best example I would give. Bank, generally whenever you take a bank, it will give you interest, right? For example, let us say if a bank wants to give an interest for the people who are maintaining an average balance of 5,000 on let's say 1st of April. That is where bankers in India will make their customers whole, right? So when they want to give this, so what they have to do? Basically they have to write they have to pull all the customers whose data is or whose account balance is not less than 5,000 rupees, and then they have to add 5% interest, and then they have to update every customer, right? This can be done very easily, say in Salesforce, when you if you are able to spend around maybe 30 minutes or 40 minutes, very worst case. But if you are doing it on your own, you have to download all those records and add the interest percentage, and then you have to upload it back and send emails. So this is very big process. But here, once you the moment you create a small feature called batch apex in Salesforce, it's like a template where you can set it up everything and you can schedule it. So this is not just for 1 year, you can do it for any number of years that you're when you're using Salesforce. So that's very easy. Likewise, you have a lot of configuration features that you have some limitations in the admin part. To overcome that, you can go with development. So the development language, I will just go with the prerequisites. So here you have to go with features like Apex and all. Just minimize this. This is the Salesforce screen. This is classic. Actually, we are not going to learn classic because this is old feature. So we'll go with lightning completely. So this is where you'll start working. Actually, this is the Salesforce screen. We'll just go with developer console. I'll show you what are we gonna learn in Apex. So in development, you'll define all this. You'll define an Apex class, which is where you need a prerequisite called based on Java. It is again, even if the technologies are new, everything is based on Java itself. So here you should be aware of OOPS concepts. And then you have VF page. Again, it is a classic feature. You don't need it, but we'll discuss about a few features, and then we'll see how does it differs from your Lightning. And then you'll go with Lightning. Here you need a lot of screens where you have to define JavaScript controllers, or your you have to go with HTML, CSS, and all very basics. Okay, if you are aware of these four, Java, that too just object-oriented programming, not everything. Okay, and basics of HTML, basics of JavaScript, basics of CSS. That's it. It will be a cakewalk for you. Even if you're not aware of it also, it is okay, because in the sessions, the concepts that I'm giving is more and more than enough. And of course, post the sessions, you have to practice for some time so that you'll get it. Okay, so then coming to certifications, you will have two types of certifications with the sessions that we are going to go with. One is Salesforce Admin and the other one is Salesforce Development. Development, we'll call it as Platform Developer 1. So both the certifications, you can do it post the sessions, and you have to pay, I think, $200 to Salesforce when you're registering for the certifications. And I'll try to give you a voucher of some discounted voucher as well for that. This thing, this is not related to any you don't have to pay for that voucher and all, so I will give it share it across for free. Okay, I don't want to reveal the amount of the percentage, because it sometimes it might be high and sometimes it might be lesser, so that we'll get it in our organizations and we are sharing it. Okay, and we'll discuss about the integrations as well, because just if I'm just going with a standby application, that is not at all sufficient, because definitely you'll go with some fake experience, that is some open secret, at least 2 years or 3 years. So for that, you need to have an idea on integrations as well. So that also we'll discuss. Any questions? Anyone?
Yeah, Ram, I have one query.
One second.
Hello, is it
Yeah.
audible?
Yes.
Ram, one point trying to understand. Sorry if it is the basic question.
No.
When we are having like multiple applications in the world, like SAP, CRM, Redbus, and IRC, CTC, so many applications we are having in the world. Okay,
Yeah.
when we are talking about this Salesforce, are you going to connect with these applications and extracting the information? And what Salesforce is doing here? What is the Salesforce role? Because
Okay.
it is very big application we are covering, and but we are not covering this point actually. What is the purpose of this Salesforce application by interacting with these applications? What we are achieving? Are we extracting the data? Are we extracting any additional information? Are we customizing anything? Can you cover those points before going to start, please?
Yeah, sure. So basically, these are what the applications that are available in Salesforce. Couple of them are standard applications, and couple of them are the custom applications that I have defined. And I'm not going to speak about integrating with the real-time applications like Redbus and all, because you need a license, original license. You cannot do it with the free editions that you are going to get. But I'll show you how do we extract the information, or we'll see how do we build the application. Because see, I was speaking about building the application, right? Like, for example, let us say I'll go with a very simple sales application or market, which is the one that we have discussed. If I'm an end user, I'll see this. Okay, now I'll start using all these tabs, start creating the records, process the records, all these things. For example, I'll just go with some random records. For example, let's say oil and gas. So we'll see how do we build the screens. We'll see how do we build this application for the end user. So right from the day one, it's not like I won't. It's the sessions won't be like, okay, today I'm going to start this concept. For this concept, you have to go with the screen, and I'll discuss something, and I'll ask you to practice post the session. No. Instead of doing this, we'll go with one standard real-time application. For example, for one of the batches that I've already started, I'm working on something called Citibank. We have we are developing, it's still in the developing phase. So we are working on an application called Citibank. So here, what happens when you go with the bank, you will see pretty much standard things, right? Like it's if I speak about some application that I'm working in my organization, which is completely internal, people won't understand. But when I'm speaking about a banking sector, everyone will get to know how this banking sector works, right? Because my intention is not just to bring some big application which you are not aware and try to complete the concepts. My intention is to make sure that you understand the concepts. I don't want you to remember anything. You should understand. The moment you understood the concept, you will easily remember. Because like any other technologies, even in Salesforce also, whenever you have a problem or whenever you have a request from the end user, right? One second. Okay. Whenever you have a request from this end user, right, you will have at least 3 to 4 different solutions. So you should be in a position where what is the best out of those 3 to 4 different solutions that are available, and how to make sure. So we have development and you have admin as well. And I told you we can do many things in admin. Now, Salesforce will always keep suggesting that don't try to go with development unless until it cannot be achieved using admin concepts. Which means we'll discuss all the features and we'll see which feature comes into what point of time when you're doing a transaction. For example, if you have 10 features, when I'm doing a transaction, system will follow some order. So we need to know what is that order. Based on that order, we have to provide the solution, because if I'm developing the solution on one feature, maybe the other feature which has something else might override this, right? So I'll discuss in such a way that you will go with all best practices and you'll remember these concepts. So I'm not going to discuss about the session is not about defining or going with a specific application, integrating with a specific application. My concentration will be mostly on making you understand the features of Salesforce, the products that are there in Salesforce, or the development areas of Salesforce. But of course, I'll just take one small example, like maybe a banking sector, or maybe we can go with some organization like a flight booking concepts, or any travel agencies, or maybe an institutional based, or maybe any other real estate broking sectors and all. Okay, clear? And of course, at the end, I won't ask you to build an application at the end of the sessions. So it's not like I will be showing you all the time. I'll ask you people to share your screens also, most of the times, at least in the development part, because admin part. Why? Because in the development you have to write a lot of code. So during that time, if I ask you to share the code, share the screens, it will be a little tough for others to understand, because it will be little not easier also. But I'll clear the questions. But during the sessions, I will be showing you the screens and doing the development. But in the admin part, I will ask every day. I'll ask one person to share the screen, and he is the person who will be defining the application in his screen and showing it to everyone, so that you don't have to go with the documentation, a project documentation at the end. Like if I'm asking you to build a project at the end of the session, I might sit with you for a day or two. I'll say, hey, I told you about some relationship concept. You apply this relationship concept here. And this is the case where you have to go with maybe an automation feature, like sending an email alert to a customer. So if I told you like this at the end by just giving you a dump of documents, then you'll also won't understand and you won't get time to ask questions also. Instead, right from day one, we'll discuss about an application which is not used in Salesforce. We'll see what that application goes on, because that is how we also do in our organization. So whenever we get a request from the business, right, we'll conduct a workshop with the business people for a week or two, and we'll understand that business process first, and we'll see whether this can be accommodated in Salesforce or not. Because as I said, Salesforce is one of the best way, but it is not the only solution that you have in the market. And I work for a product based organization. I don't have to think about whether my user likes it, or whether I have to sell this product to my customers or not, because they are our people only. So we'll always go with the best approach. So we'll do the same thing, but as we don't have much time, we'll have a session for 1 or 2 hours about what kind of process the business follows, and what is how the way we are going to convert this into Salesforce. We'll simply work on a very simple spreadsheet, and on that spreadsheet, we'll start converting that spreadsheet into a Salesforce application. Why? Because if you go with Excel, right? If Microsoft thought that okay, they want to do a lot of automations, they want to have all email validations and all, maybe after 10 years, the only product they'll come back with is Salesforce, which means Salesforce is a kind of fully automated Excel sheet, I would say. And so once you will have the basic schema on Excel, and then we'll start building it in Salesforce. Every day we'll go with from day one itself, we'll start building the application right from scratch, which means by end of the sessions you will have one full-fledged application built into your system. So you can I know people who took the same application that we built in the session to their interviews as well. Okay, did that answer your question?
Uh, I just need one sample use case where we have the information about all these. Like example, if you explained US island based some website, right? From that
Yeah.
website, what Salesforce is customizing that? Can you give one sample use case end to end?
Uh, yeah, we can do it.
Because I'm not really capturing what is Salesforce role here.
See, Salesforce won't capture the data from the external websites. See, it is
Okay.
a tool where you build your own application based on your end user requirements and help them to process their requests. Okay, it will never ever capture the data from an external system unless you start integrating with an external system by writing some REST or SOAP API web service callouts.
Hmm.
Okay, it
You
won't ever
but
pull. That is not given to
using
you at all. I'm sorry.
so by using Salesforce tool, we can
Hmm.
build the application which is like a CRM, customer relation
Yes,
management or HR management, leave management, whatever the applications we want. Is that
yep,
correct?
yes.
By using
And
this
now, for
tool and
example, in my application, for example, I would take this example. Uh, let's say I work for an organization where they have set up or they have multiple branches across the world. So if I and I'm working on some finance-based application. Now,
Mhm.
when I speak about finance-based, definitely too much of money is involved, right? Definitely currency will be involved. And when I'm speaking about the organization which is built across or scattered across the world, which means you need exchange rates, right? Currency conversions.
Yeah.
So, for example, let us say if you are, it's not like you will directly go with the actual system. So, generally for exchange rates, you will have some third-party systems where they'll give you the updated exchange rates every day, right? So, let us say I want to have those exchange rates in my system. Then definitely I need to connect with this system, this external tool, right? So that is where you'll go with the integrations. Like every day, I need to get the exchange rate values from them, and that too if I want to go with a minimal license, then write a simple REST API calls, extract the data, create a custom table in my
I think
system, update,
Ram,
and yep. Sorry.
that is a component in your application, right? I think I didn't get the name of the person who's asking you a question, right? So for suppose, right? Say let's assume that the organization that I'm working on, right? They came up with uh, the business wanted to build an application, right? How can I
Hmm.
do the fitment analysis, like whether to go? Okay, they came up with some requirement. How can I ensure? I mean, how can I request them? Okay, this requirement can be done in a Salesforce, or this requirement can be done cannot be cannot be done. The fitment analysis, right? So that is what I think the point is, right? So the
That is
business,
what is
actual
about
business
the
scenario.
entire. Yeah, so that is what is about the entire scenario, right? So, see, if I have a huge data where you can process it, which means, let's say, if you want to mature the data, for example, let us say I'm working on an application where I need to get the bank guarantee forms in my for doing some projects. So, as you know, for example, very simple example, I'll say, as you know, most of the organizations will start their projects, they'll start their ventures, and all this, right? And whenever they want to do a start any application or a project, most of the organizations won't take out the money from their pockets, so they need some loans from different banks. For that they need a guarantee forms, correct? So if you want to go with the guarantee forms, if you're an individual person, for example, let's say Ram needs a loan of maybe 10 lakhs. Now bank will say, okay, just give me some person who can give you a guarantee, right? So I need to give some surety about maybe my friends and all. Let's say I'm asking Yeshwant. But when I'm going with a company, in that company, if I want to start a project in that company, I can't take the decisions alone. So that is where I need to get the forms from multiple people across, scattered across the organization. To get these people approvals, I need to go to each and every person, ask them to sign on a particular document, and get the entire form generated, and then only I can provide it to a bank so that I can get the loan for that particular project in the organization, right? But if I'm using Salesforce, right? So earlier, because we are using this, we have developed the same application in our organization where earlier they used to spend at least around two months to close one particular request, but now this can be closed just within 4 or 5 days. Why? Because we have automated the entire system, and we have enabled DocuSign, where it helps you to write get the digital signatures as well. So this way you can have the entire information in one phrase. Because if you are going with emails, right, you will be getting thousands of emails every day in your organization, or at least very worst case tens and tens of emails. So if you are taking 2 months, the information is not in one position. But Salesforce, you can have a place where you have the entire information in one place, and you can start using it based on the business requirement. So which means any
So
application.
can I understand? Sorry to interrupt you, Ram. So can I understand this as a process management, something like say, some process management application can be done in a Salesforce? Is that right?
Uh, yes, because that is what is nothing but processing a request, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can use. Yeah.
Okay.
So it means let's go for the layman level. There is one HDFC bank. Okay,
Okay.
hundreds of customers raised the request for a loan, just 1 to 1 lakh, from 1 person to 1 lakh people raised the request for a loan. Okay, that whole data captured into HDFC application. So here Salesforce is connecting to that application database and extracting this 1 lakh records and doing that operation by using this Salesforce, whatever we did based on that validation or additional checks on that records. Is that correct point?
Um, Actually, if SDFC is using it, then
Just
ideally you
example,
don't. Yeah. Yeah. So
assume.
ideally, what happens is in Salesforce we have a feature called community. Okay, you don't have to again have a HDFC database and then connect it back. You can build the application directly on the community, wherein which end users creates these requests directly on the community, like the way you have your websites, right? The Facebook and all. So we can the moment the end user wants to upload their request or raise a request for the loans, right? The link will
Hmm.
be given, or that link belongs to Salesforce, and the request directly comes and sits in Salesforce, and from
So
there
basically,
the internal team of sorry.
so what you're saying is like that account, say for suppose that whatever the request, right, the loan request process, what you're saying is like the loan request process application can be directly built in the Salesforce, and directly
Yes.
the users who are requesting for
Yes,
the loan
because
can
there is no
directly
point
reach out
of
to the Salesforce.
yeah, because there is no point of duplicating the data, right? In the
Yeah, yeah,
in the
understand.
HDFC
Yeah,
system.
now we are clear.
So
Yeah, got it.
yeah,
Hmm. So that
because
Salesforce
see,
has.
when you're going with this cloud, right, especially cloud,
Mhm.
one thing that we always take care is data duplications, because you're paying money for each and every amount of space that you're using, right? So instead of doing a data duplication, we'll make sure in such a way that information is there in one place, and from there it can be shared across whenever you want. Now, for example, request is processed. The user says, okay, Ram, I don't want, so I have some system at the backend, which is my core database. And here is the place where I'll store the information of the customers who got the loans approved. Then what I'll do, I'll process the entire request in Salesforce, and I'll write some automation rules at the back end, which says when this request says it is completed, the request cycle is completed, and I'll write a feature called trigger or something, which will raise a web service call out, which will prepare my this particular request and send it to this external system. And then from there, it will take it out however it wants. Or maybe that external system, I'll allow the external system to access my Salesforce APIs, wherein which they can fetch the system data whenever they want also. So it depends.
Okay.
Is that clear now?
Yeah, yeah, clear.
So Ram, this is Gauri Shankar. So I'm basically MuleSoft developer.
And who are the?
Hey, hi,
Okay.
Gauri.
Hi Ram. So basically in MuleSoft we get the data, we will process that, or we write some batch jobs. We'll process the data, whatever we get. So using
Hmm.
Salesforce, we can also build UI. Is that what you're saying? Like we'll provide UI
Yes.
and where we can where users will enter their data and some kind of data transformations will write it in the Salesforce.
Yes, because even if you are using MuleSoft, right? So MuleSoft, we can consider it as a middleware. We can't expose the MuleSoft tool directly to the end user, right? MuleSoft
Right,
will use it to connect between the systems. But
right.
if I want to expose the data to an end user, you need a system. I mean, you need a technology or a screen. So that screens can be
Right.
built in Salesforce.
Okay. UI
And of
can be
course,
built in, right?
yes, and of course, MuleSoft helps you to connect to different systems. Like you will process the data, but before doing that, because as you are aware, MuleSoft is a little costly license also, right? So
Hmm.
instead, if you just want to process the data, I don't have to go with the MuleSoft who is charging around who will charge around $500 an hour. But here, if I go with Salesforce, I can get the licenses just in $100 per year. So this is a easy bet for me, right? And if I don't want to have an integration, actually, there is no way there is no point in comparing Salesforce and MuleSoft, because I'll go with MuleSoft only if I want to connect the data between two different systems or more than two systems. But Salesforce, I just want to process some data. That's it. I need to show some screen to the end user where he has to upload, raise his request, and process that request according to his requirements. Here, there is no point in going with other systems and all. I can simply build it in Salesforce. And then let us say if I want to push it to some other system, yes, and if the end user doesn't want to invest too much of money, then I'll go with a simple web service callouts to push it. Or let's say if the system is complex, that is where I'll ask him, okay, can we will go with MuleSoft because as the design is very complex. Unless until the design is little complicated, Salesforce won't prefer MuleSoft because it is an extra burden for the business, right?
Here.
And Ram, one more question here.
Yeah, Prasad.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Ram, sorry, for last 1 minute I couldn't hear you. 30 seconds or 1 minute.
Okay. No, I was saying we won't go with MuleSoft unless until we need to connect multiple systems,
Multiple
right?
systems. Okay. So only if there is just one system like database or external vendor, some vendor, then we can use
Then
Salesforce.
you can simply use Salesforce. For example, your entire organization's Workday. Workday can be easily implemented in Salesforce itself. So for
Okay.
Workday, you don't have to have integrations and all, right?
Okay.
Or for example, let us say you have a customer who will raise the cases, or maybe a service request and all, and you have to close those service requests. So when you are speaking about this case management, so let us say I have 27 people in this team. So let
Hmm.
us say all of us are some support agents.
No.
So now let's say a person, some XYZ person raised a case. Let's say he is from Bangalore. So in this 27 people, only 3 people are from Bangalore. So we'll see how can we route this case only to these 3 people. So that is some automation that can be written directly in Salesforce. I don't need a MuleSoft for this, right? Because I don't
Right.
want to connect to an external system. And these 3 people, one of them will take the case and they'll start speaking with their customer and making sure that the particular case will be resolved. So for this, we don't need any integration. Everything can be processed in system itself. And say the organization who is using this case management, they don't have to store these cases in their database because it is just a service request raised and closed. So
Close.
Salesforce is already giving a database, so it will be there in the system unless until it is pretty much secured information, or if, unless until the user, the business says that okay, I can't trust Salesforce all the time because it is based on cloud and all. They will do an integration, or whenever we need data from some other systems, we will fetch the information. Okay.
Is it using REST API or is there any other method?
We do have REST and SOAP, which are pretty much standard. The common integrations that we use. But
Mhm.
yeah, as Gauri Shankar said, we can use MuleSoft also. So it depends again based on, see, when you're speaking about technologies, right? Not just Salesforce, with just my small experience, I'm telling you. So whenever the business comes and says, "Hey, Prasad, this is my requirement," right? Based on the requirement, you may not go with Salesforce. I'm not saying that Salesforce is the only tool where you'll get all the solutions. For example, let us say user says that, okay, I just need to capture some data. I will never ever suggest Salesforce for them. I'll ask them, okay, go and use some SharePoint or something, which is because when you speak about SharePoint, most of the organization will have a default SharePoint. There they can capture all these records. So I'll ask them to start using Salesforce whenever they want to do some automation or whenever they want to do the processing of their request.
Request. Yes. Yeah, got the point, Ram. Thank you. Yeah.
And the other one
Using
is
APIs or channels, queues in middleware mechanism to connect with the systems and to perform automation.
yeah. And the other one is I'm not sure whether it is useful or not. So whenever I'm discussing about any of the features that we are going to do in the future, for example, the case management system I'm speaking about. So there are places where we need to, there will be some requirements where I need to fetch the data from the external system. So when we are going with those examples, at least for a couple of features, I can't go with the same application. For example, let us say in the SAP one, I can't go with the standard sales process or service process which is given by Salesforce. But of course, I have to discuss about that because we'll get a couple of questions about the features of Service Cloud or Sales Cloud. During that time, I'll tell you like whenever I'm using a particular concept, I'll tell you like in which case you might go with an integration and when you're working this feature. Let's say when I'm working with case management, I can easily fetch the email of the person who raised the case. But let us say if this is built for an internal organization, I'll tell you how I can extract the information of, for example, like let us say Yashwant is the person who raised the case. I'll tell you like how can we get Yashwant's manager's email or his manager's detail, because when I'm solving the case, I might need to speak with his manager also. During that time, we'll see how do these things comes up, and we'll see what all the other requirements that you might have in future, because you cannot connect directly with an external system with the free licenses that you are going to do with. But at least if you have a use case in mind, right, that will be easier, or I'll give you a virtual assumption like how it can be done. Okay.
Yeah.
And Ram,
Any other
Ram,
yeah.
one more question, right? So who are the competitors for the Salesforce in the market?
You have many people.
I mean, just to highlight maybe a few of them, right? So just for my
One of them is Zolo and Microsoft. You have Azure, SAP. You have HANA, and Oracle also. I think they have some. I don't remember, but you do have multiple people. But as of now, if you're aware of Gartner scale, that will show
yeah,
you that.
yeah.
So if you see from past 3-4 years, Salesforce is always at the top. Why? Because the biggest advantage of Salesforce is it started the moment, if you see here, I'll just go back to this screen. If you see here, these are the list of companies that Salesforce acquired. So to maintain heavy applications, they acquired Heroku. To maintain CPQ products, they acquired Steelbricks. So there will be something called Quip also here. So likewise, the moment they see something useful, they are acquiring those organizations. That is one best thing why Salesforce is having pulling lot many customers actually. And of course they are evolving day by day, and there are ways like where we can connect with the blockchain. I didn't work on blockchain, but there are applications that I've seen where they have connected with blockchains. We can go with analytics as well. Like in Salesforce there is one more special license called Einstein Analytics. We do have it. And we can go with and there is it's easy to enable SSO in Salesforce. All these things are there. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ram. Thanks for your time. Thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone else?
Hey Ram, this is basic question. So when it is an application, so who holds the data, client or Salesforce, or where the data is stored? Right now you are talking about
Salesforce is a service provider, right? So Salesforce will hold the data in their own service.
okay, Salesforce hold the data in their own infrastructure.
Yes, because that is what is nothing but the cloud computing, right? So you'll have some XYZ person, So they will be holding the data, and you are buying the space for rent. Actually, you are taking the space for rent. Actually,
Okay.
Hello, am I
So what
audible?
are the certifications we have to do for this?
so you have ADM 201. At least in this session, there are around 35 or 36, 35 certifications, if I'm not wrong, or sorry, yeah, 30 plus certifications, because they are going with connection with Velocity. Even Velocity have a lot of certifications. But in this sessions, you'll learn about admin and development. So for this, you have 4 certifications basically: admin 201, and advanced admin. Uh, sorry, and then you have PD1 and PD2. So I prefer asking you to go with admin 201 and PD1, not advanced admin and PD2. Why? Because for these two, you need a little more experience. So once you get it, you can do it. And in the market, if you have PD1, that is more and more than enough. Because and when I discussed about the course content, so you have 2 things, right? One is admin and the development. So when I'll go with development, only if I get to know that, okay, these things cannot be achieved in admin, which means I have to learn admin first. That is mandatory. Okay. And then once I'm done with the admin, that is where I'll get to know the pros and cons of admin. And then I can start going with the development. So which means if I'm a developer, everyone knows that, okay, I'm completely aware of both admin and development activities. So for example, let us say I'm an admin and Yashwant is a developer. Definitely companies will look forward to hire Yashwant rather than me. Why? Because he knows both, right? That is how the demand is. So instead of wasting money on just admin, if you are looking for development, I'll directly ask you to go with PD1 directly. Okay, that covers both.
Okay. So our course will cover all this, right?
Yeah, both the things. Yes. Yep. You can get the course content from the consultancy. Actually, as I said, it's a new system, right? I forgot to download that course content.
No, no, we are able to see Ram, no
Yeah.
issue. No.
So I'll
Just
mainly
concentrate how
I'll
to
mainly
use.
concentrate on three things. One is how you get the best solution. That is by bringing the application into the sessions, by discussing an application right from scratch in the session. Second thing is how to crack the certification. So for this, I won't ask you the questions at the end of the sessions. So instead, let us say today is Sunday, right? Let us say we have started the session from last Monday. So every 2-3 days, I'll keep revising the previous concepts, maybe for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Because if you are learning it for the first time, then yes, of course, you have to spend a lot of time. But you have already heard the concept once. To revise it, it won't take more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes, right? So I'll keep. I will have a separate slot, first 5 or 10 minutes, especially for the revising previous concepts. So I might ask you any question, any random questions, so you will get a similar kind of questions even in your certification also. Basically, in your certification, you will have 65 questions, and all are multiple choice questions. Like you will have one question and 4 answers, but there are questions where they'll ask you to choose 3 answers also, or one answer, 2 answers also. Okay, we'll see that. Okay.
Question.
And third one is, of course, interviews. So that will be taken care. If I'm taking care of first 2 points, interviews will be automatically taken care. You don't have to worry about it.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Neela.
Yes, I have a question. Do we require like a coding knowledge in admin? Can you please give some clarity on that?
Sorry? No, nothing. You don't have to have any prerequisites. If you are just a graduate, then that is more and more
No.
than.
Do we require any coding knowledge in admin?
No. That's what I'm saying. You don't you don't have to have any prerequisites when you're going with admin. You can come with an empty mind and sit in the session. It'll be. I'll be taking care of everything.
Okay, thank you.
But of course, yes, like as you are looking only specifically for admin, there are multiple roles in sales. So actually, I was looking for this question from most of you, but unfortunately, I did not got this question. So most of the doubts that people will have is, okay, Ram, what are the different roles that we have in the market when I learn Salesforce? So you have admin. So because when you go with two people, admin and developer, yes, of course, I'll go with Yashwan because he is a developer instead of going with Ram, who is just an admin. But as Yashwan knows that people will hire him because he's a developer, he'll charge more, right? So unless until there is a development requirement for me, I won't hire Yashwan. That is again another point. Which means if my applications are very simple, or if I for supporting my application, I need a person who just have to activate deactivate users or build applications you mainly on the configuration part, because you have a lot of enhancements even in the admin also. So for me, only admin knowledge is enough. Then I'll definitely go with Ram again. Okay, and of course you have a development role, and you will any technology you will have architect roles. So you will have a solution architect and technical architect. Technical architect who is knowing the in and out of Salesforce and other technologies, but a solution architect is an advanced level of your business analyst, I would say. So which means you will have Salesforce BA roles as well. Salesforce BA is the person who is aware of Salesforce concepts, either admin or development, uh, but they don't know how to code at least. So that is where we'll call them as Salesforce BA. Which means, for example, let us say Neela as okay, I'm not from development background, Ram, so okay, I still want to go with better than admin. Then I would suggest learn both admin and development. But even if you're not practicing the development session, you'll get to know what all the different concepts we have and which concept can be used at what point of time. That is how the sessions will be, because I can give you the knowledge, but I can't sit with you when you're practicing, right? So what I'll do is I'll try to cover at most in the sessions itself, which means even if you're not practicing at all. So I'll make sure that you will remember the concept, you'll understand the concept. Okay, so that even in future, if you are stuck somewhere in particular concept, then you'll remember, okay, when we discuss about trigger, okay, this can be done through trigger. Because if I simply search for a trigger in the Google, you can easily find the solutions. So finding a solution is not a big deal. Like getting the codes in Google is not a big deal, because that was you cannot have Salesforce without internet. So you will be connected with internet all the time, so you can get the piece of code very easily. But you need to know which piece of code to be used in Salesforce. So that is where we will look into mostly. Okay, so if you are aware of just the concepts, then you can become a Salesforce BA. And of course, Salesforce tester will also be there for testing purpose. If you are just aware of admin concepts, that is also enough. Okay, these are the different roles. One is admin, developer, a solution architect, technical architect. If you are new to Salesforce, these two things to achieve to these two levels, you will take little time, but you will have Salesforce BA and Salesforce tester also. So BA and development needs both admin and development. Tester and admin needs admin knowledge.
A developer need any other skill set? I mean, like you said, some coding, right?
Yeah, so you should. I will before I start the development sessions, I'll give you an introduction. During that time, I'll give you a couple of websites which were very easier. So you just need you should be able to understand the object oriented programming, which means what is an object, what is a class, what is a method, what are the interface, what do you mean by an interface, all very basics. And next thing is JavaScript. What do you mean by a function? How do we declare the functions? How do we invoke one function, one another function? Kind of again a basics. And CSS basic styling, and then HTML. What do you mean by start tag, end tag, header tag, paragraph tag? All basics. So trust me, if you spend maybe 2 hours before we start the session, not every day, just one day, that is more and more than enough.
Okay.
Okay, because even if you are supposed to aware of this, we won't directly use the say standard JavaScript. For example, I won't directly write each and every feature of a object-oriented programming. For example, if you take me, I'm not from a development background. I learned Apex, not which is the development language of Salesforce. I don't know Java earlier. Okay. Just
Hello.
sorry, go on.
Yeah, Ram, this is Ram again. Like,
Hey, hi.
Yeah, just a question like how many days it will take to complete this course? Like for admin separate or development separate or you in the session? I mean, once it's started the course, how many it will take? How many days it will take?
Okay. I won't say number of days. I would say number of sessions because days. If I speak about days, it will include the weekends. So I might need around 40 sessions to complete
40
everything.
sessions. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
So
not more than
including development, admin as well, right?
including development.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just giving you a very maximum number. Why? Because
Okay.
or yeah, on an average, it will take 40 because a couple of people will be little slow and couple of people will be little faster, and in between we'll have interview sessions kind of. So I'm just including everything, and I'm saying we'll have around plus or minus 40. I mean, it might increase or it might decrease, kind of.
Okay.
And the last point, so I'm not asking you to join in the same session or take the training from me, but one suggestion I would definitely give is if you are looking for a career change or if you are looking for a job, I mean, maybe for a fresher, I would say Salesforce is the one good technology. Why? Because this is the only technology, especially in India, because I can see most of you. I'm not sure whether you are from India or not, but most of the names looks like Indians. So this is the only technology, especially in India, where organizations are looking to hire freshers also. So you don't even have to keep any fake experience. Okay, because every other technology we will say that okay, I need this much of experience and all. But here, yeah, if you are aware and if you are certified, there are a lot of organizations who are hiring freshers also.
Ram, I have a question again.
Yeah.
Do you provide any placements after completion of the course?
Sorry.
Do you provide any placements after completion of the course?
Placements, no. That you have to speak with Lakshmi. But I don't think we'll provide any placements, if I'm not wrong.
Hi Ram, this is Pavni.
Hi, Pavni.
For admin course, how many sessions you will take? Like you said, 40 sessions for development and admin, right? So only for particular admin, how many sessions you need?
Yeah, it's half mostly, like somewhere around 20 sessions.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Ram, this is Ravi. A quick question on the admin part. Does admin need to be a coder as well, or the coding is
No,
not
no,
required?
that's what I said. You don't have to learn any coding for admin. So you just, when it is admin is like, you should know about the process and the logic. That's it. Process come from the business. Logics come from our sessions, in features. So everything is like a pseudo logic kind of. Only in there is one feature called validations where it looks like coding, but actually it is not. It's a very simple pseudo logic. So that I'll cover it up. I mean, it's based on the requirement. First we'll see what is the requirement. We'll understand that, and we'll convert that to the technical validation. You don't need to write a single line of code in that manner.
Thanks.
Okay, so sends message. Okay, so I think that's all. I don't have anything else to discuss, and Thanks for joining the session, especially on the weekend. And I think you spent around 2 hours. I hope I have given you at least just maybe a 0.5% about Salesforce. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. If you still have any questions, I'll stay back for a minute. If not, we can drop off. And rest all about the session timings and all, I think you can discuss with the consultancy. They will update you about the next steps. Okay.
Yeah, one question. What is the certification price? I just want to know. Any idea?
It's $200 that you have to pay to Salesforce. I'll tell you like how to get that WebAssisor account. Like there is something called WebAssisor, so where you have to register over there, and then you can register for your all certification, because your entire Salesforce certifications will be maintained over there. So there you can register. Okay, any the price starts with 200 in that. So all your admins, unless until you are going for an architect, rest all is 200 only. Architect certifications will charge you around 400, but that needs very good exposure. So you won't get that exposure just with the free licenses that we are going with. You should have some real-time experience. So maybe after a year or so, you can look for that.
Okay.
If you are really interested. Yeah. Okay, people started dropping off. Any other questions, anyone?
Only online classes or physical classes are also going?
No, I think it's completely online because I stay in Bangalore, so it's completely online.
Hey, what will be the package for 6 years or 7 years experience?
No, okay, that's the maximum. So it depends. Like 6 to 7, I would say for developer, right? Definitely, if you're going for 6 to 7, definitely it's developer. So I have offered 23 lakhs in my organization, one of my person. Yeah, 23 lakhs. I mean, so the number that I told you earlier, that Salesforce acquired the, hired person. Sorry?
Yeah, one thing, what I did, there is a Oracle CRM on demand, right? That is also kind of cloud tool and similar to. Okay. So I did work on that, but
okay.
On Salesforce. So you covered most of the things in app building, but what about that workflow creation and the validation and rules creation, security mechanism? There are many things. Those
securities and all will be taken care.
Okay.
I think I didn't discuss about that, but when you see the course content, you'll get to know. Those things will be taken care. It is a part of the course.
Yeah. Thanks, Ravi.
Okay. Okay, we can drop off.
Thank you, Ram. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.